Assisted Lab, Troubleshooting a Network Issue. Scenario: to troubleshoot issues effectively, you must approach problems in a structured way. Familiarize yourself with the steps in the CompTIA troubleshooting model. The first steps are as follows. Identify the problem and determine the scope. Establish a theory of probable cause, question the obvious. Test the theory to determine the cause. Another factor in successful troubleshooting is to select appropriate tools and information sources to help to diagnose the problem. To complete this lab, diagnose a network issue affecting access to server and client systems. Review the expected configuration documentation. The local network contains two subnets. Servers are on the 10.1.16.0/24 subnet and clients are on the 10.1.24.0/24 subnet. The default gateway for each subnet is at 0.254. The server DC10 has a static IP address of 10.1.16.1, while the server MS10 has a static IP address of 10.1.16.2. The client PC10 is assigned an address by DHCP. DC10 runs Active Directory, DNS, and DHCP. The router performs DHCP forwarding to the client subnet. Objectives: this activity is designed to test your understanding of and ability to apply content examples in the following CompTIA server plus objectives. 4.1 Explain the troubleshooting theory and methodology. 4.5 Given a scenario, troubleshoot network connectivity issues. 0% tasks complete. Next, identify the problem. Assisted Lab, identify the problem. A user has reported that a PC isn't working. You decide to start by having the user reproduce the problem. Establish a theory. When troubleshooting a network problem, a standard approach is to test by OSI layer and work up or down. Investigate applications and services and then proceed to IP connectivity. On the DC10 VM, from Server Manager, select Tools DHCP. Expand the server to view the scopes. Scopes. Select here to review the expected configuration documentation. The local network contains two subnets. Servers are on the 10.1.16.0/24 subnet and clients are on the 10.1.24.0/24 subnet. The default gateway for each subnet is at 0.254. The server DC10 has a static IP address of 10.1.16.1, while the server MS10 has a static IP address of 10.1.16.2. The client PC10 is assigned an address by DHCP. DC10 runs Active Directory, DNS, and DHCP. The router performs DHCP forwarding to the client subnet. From Server Manager, select Tools DNS. Expand the server to view the forward lookup zone for the domain, corp.515support.com. Select here to review the expected configuration documentation. The local network contains two subnets. Servers are on the 10.1.16.0/24 subnet and clients are on the 10.1.24.0/24 subnet. The default gateway for each subnet is at 0.254. The server DC10 has a static IP address of 10.1.16.1, while the server MS10 has a static IP address of 10.1.16.2. The client PC10 is assigned an address by DHCP. DC10 runs Active Directory, DNS, and DHCP. The router performs DHCP forwarding to the client subnet. As there don't appear to be any issues with the domain controller's critical services, use ping to test basic connectivity. Open Windows PowerShell. Run the following command to check the server's own IP address. This will fail. Note that two different types of response are received: request timed out for 1 or 2 probes and then destination host unreachable. This is a clue to the source of the problem, but do not worry if it is not clear to you yet. Run IP protocol configuration/all. Select here to review the expected configuration documentation. The local network contains 2 subnets. Servers are on the 10.1.16.0/24 subnet and clients are on the 10.1.24.0/24 subnet. The default gateway for each subnet is at 0.254. The server DC10 has a static IP address of 10.1.16.1, while the server MS10 has a static IP address of 10.1.16.2. The client PC10 is assigned an address by DHCP. DC10 runs Active Directory, DNS, and DHCP. The router performs DHCP forwarding to the client subnet. Is there any discrepancy between the IP protocol configuration output and the documented network configuration? Analyze the output. Note that the IP address configured is from the automatic IP addressing, APIPA, range of 169.254.0.0. PC10. Note that the IP address configured is from the automatic IP addressing, APIPA, range of 169.254.0.0/16. Windows machines assign an address from this machine when they are configured to obtain an address automatically but cannot contact a DHCP server. If all clients are affected like this, the scope of the problem is wide and serious. 48% tasks complete. Previous next, test the theory. Test the theory. You might have developed a theory as to what has happened. If you have not, review the facts you have uncovered. DHCP/DNS/Active Directory are running as normal on DC-10. DC-10 has network connectivity problems. Clients cannot contact DC-10 to obtain a network configuration and authenticate, blocking most users from accessing their accounts. Some accounts, notably the default administrator, can still log on because their credentials are cached on each machine. Perform additional tests either to confirm your suspicions or obtain more information to assist with diagnosis. OUVE seen enough data to identify the problem. Enter the address causing the issue. If you think it's an IP address, use the format w.x.y.z. If you think it's a MAC address, use the format AABBCCDDEFF. Establish a plan of action. Once you have diagnosed the problem, you must plan and implement a solution. Establish a plan of action to resolve the problem. Implement the solution or escalate. We do tend to concentrate troubleshooting effort on diagnosis. However, the number of steps in the CompTIA model later in the process emphasize the importance of the structured approach. You can't make unplanned changes to configurations just to solve one problem. Changes must be planned, tested, and approved before they are made. We can't adjust the MAC address in this lab environment, but in a normal environment, you check Device Manager to ensure that both machines are using burned-in addresses. These are globally unique and so don't cause this kind of conflict. If you do need to use locally administered addresses, you must ensure that unique allocations are made to each host. In lieu of applying a fix, we'll use a protocol analyzer to confirm our diagnosis with certainty. Address Resolution Protocol (ARP) is used to identify the media access control (MAC) address associated with an IP address. The MAC address, or hardware address, is specific to the network port. It is only communicated on the local segment. On the MS-10 has the IP address 10.1.16.2. To locate 10.1.16.1, it uses ARP messaging, but it does not receive any replies, because it has the same MAC address as DC-10, which is the owner of 10.1.16.1. It does not try to reply to a MAC address that appears to be its own. Duplicate MAC addresses can cause complete loss of communication or unpredictable traffic patterns. The issue is uncommon on physical networks because network adapters have unique burned-in addresses assigned by the manufacturer. With virtualization, the MAC address can be generated by the hypervisor or assigned statically, so there is more scope for accidental misconfiguration. We cannot fix the issue as the MAC addresses are set at the launch of the lab and cannot be changed. However, while there is no opportunity to apply them in this lab, review the final steps in the troubleshooting process and how they underline the importance of ongoing problem management. Verify full system functionality and, if applicable, implement preventive measures. Perform a root cause analysis. Document findings, actions, and outcomes throughout the process. 100% tasks complete. Previous next, review lab. Review lab. Answer the following comprehensive questions to ensure that you recognize the importance of the activity steps and the uses for the information you have learned. In the CompTIA troubleshooting model, which step follows test the theory to determine the cause? Implement the solution or escalate. Identify the problem and determine the scope. Question users/stakeholders and identify changes to the server/environment. Establish a plan of action to resolve the problem. Correct. How should you categorize the cause of the problem that we investigated in this lab? DHCP failure. Improper IP configuration. Incorrect OS root tables. Bad cable. Misconfigured NIC. Correct. 100% tasks complete. Previous next, grade lab. Grade lab. That concludes this lab. Please ensure you end it properly rather than just closing the browser window. Once you select Submit, you will not be able to return to this lab instance. If you want to repeat the lab, you can launch a new instance from your lab portal. Check all the step boxes above to mark all tasks as complete and make sure you have submitted responses to all the activities. Select Submit below to grade the lab. 100% tasks complete. Previous submit.